welcome back to another edition of Maddie's Rap. I'm your host, the multiple award-winning author, Matt D. Talford, author of a couple of amazing books that I will tell you about after this episode, all right? Or I shouldn't say after, at the end of this episode, okay? I'm laughing, ladies and gentlemen, because I just heard the voice of my public speaking instructor in college, or my collegiate public speaking instructor, telling me that I needed to slow down. She said to me, I know you're from New York where everybody speaks fast, but you're in the South and you're going to have to slow it down a little bit. So anyway, that's why I was laughing. I heard myself as I was speaking. And I'm like, why am I rushing through this? Anyway, all right. So what are we talking about today? We're talking about a topic that has been trending for a few years. Twin flames. All right. Twin flames. Yeah, what we're going to talk about today are, basics. This is not intended to be a deep dive into what twin flames are. This is not, let me give you this disclaimer, okay? One, I am not a twin flame coach, all right? For those of you who identify with that archetype, all right, or the sub-archetypes of twin flames, divine feminine and divine masculine, I am not a twin flame coach, all right? That's disclaimer number one. Disclaimer number two, I do not answer personal questions about anything with regards to my relationships, all right? So do not ask me any questions. Matt, are you a twin flame? I'm here to tell you, I neither confirm nor deny, all right? I'm not answering any questions. I'm here to give you guys a basic understanding of what twin flames are and go into a little bit of detail about the differences, the archetypes of what make up twin flames, the soul group energy. Okay, what are soul groups? Some soul group basics. If you're watching this video and you have not watched my videos breaking down what is the purpose of the soul, why do we incarnate, why you probably don't believe in reincarnation, I'll put those links in the description box. I would ask you to go and watch those first, because if you are a person who does not believe in the eternal nature of the soul, this video is not going to resonate with you. This is not for you. If you think that you live one time in a body and then die and either spend eternity in heaven or hell, this video is not for you. If you do not understand that you are an eternal being having a physical experience for the purpose of soul growth, or for the purpose of learning, or for the purpose of fulfilling some divine mission or some divine purpose, this video is not for you. So please go ahead and turn it off right now, all right? Now, if you've stuck around, when I come back after this short break, oh, and thank you to my new and returning subscribers. I dare not proceed without thanking you guys. This channel's growth has amazed me. It has amazed me. I give all thanks and honor to God first. And secondly, to you, my subscribers, you guys, oh man, you guys energize me. This is why I'm always encouraging you guys to leave comments, because in as much as you guys may learn from me watching this video, I also learn from you. I've learned some cool things. I've had some great shows introduced to me by different subscribers. I've had different subscribers share things with me on Instagram that I was not knowledgeable about. So I thank you guys. This is the purpose of the community. We share when we comment and we learn from each other. So please leave a comment. One warning on that. If you are not adding something constructive, if you're not coming with a legitimate question, I'm okay with debate. I'm okay with you're disagreeing with me. But if it is not legitimate, if you're just throwing a comment out there to be mean or to be an a-hole, I don't do low vibrational. I don't. So where I can help it, all right? So I'm going to delete that comment. So please do me a favor, and I don't want to have to delete it, all right? So just, if you don't have anything constructive to say, then don't leave a comment, all right? So now that the housekeeping is out of the way, when I come back, we're gonna jump right into this topic, twin flames, all right? Coming up on Maddie's Rap. Stick around. Back, and without further ado, let's go ahead and jump in on this topic, twin flames, all right? Now, what I want to do is to give you, number one, what my take is on what I think twin flames are, there's a couple of different contrasting theories out there. Okay, and then I want to go down to talking about the archetypes. What is the divine feminine archetype? What is the divine masculine archetype? Those two archetypes combine to make up what are called twin flames. All right. So we're going to break down the DM and the DF archetypes. And then what I want to do is I want to kind of explain to you why being a twin or being in a twin flame relationship, that's why I don't even like the term twin flames, to be honest, y'all. I prefer divine counterparts, because when you say twin flame, people hear flame and they're like, ooh, flame, relationship. When you hear flame and relationship, that sounds like something to have. But when you look at it from the perspective or through the lens or the visor of being divine counterparts, then you understand that this is something that is divinely created for a divine purpose. All right. So I prefer divine counterparts. To be honest with you, I wish the term twin flame would go away, but I know it ain't going anywhere. And that's kind of why I'm doing this video right now, to be honest. A shout out to, I'm not going to say their names, but a couple of people have been pushing me saying, Matt, do this video. Okay. So I'm going to talk about, why I don't think being in a twin flame connection is something to do or something to, that shouldn't be relationship goals. If you've heard about twin flames and that's relationship goals for you, I'm going to tell you why I don't think that should be a goal. And then, you know what? I think that's about all I'm going to cover with regards to, so I'm going to throw some examples in there to help, because you guys know I'm a relative teacher and I'm a relative learner. I think we learn best through examples that we can relate to. So I'm going to throw some examples in there, and that'll be about it for this. There's going to be a part 2 to this video where I talk about the karmics, false twins, and real twins, and what those three things look like, because those are elements of the twin flame journey as well. And I want to talk about those as well, but for the sake of length of this video, I want to save that for a separate video, because that really in and of itself is kind of almost its own topic. So now, twin flames. What are twin flames? Okay, to answer that question, I want to go back to when I first heard the term twin flame. 2 Januaries ago, I want to say it was January 2021. I say 2 ago because we're a month away from January 2023. So anyway, this is December. Today's date is December 2nd, 2022. So we're less than 30 days away from the next January. So I'll just go ahead and say 2 Januaries ago. 2 Januaries ago, I was scrolling through my Facebook feed of recommended videos, and I saw this beautiful sister's image on the thumbnail. She had on all white, and the title of the video was Soul Contracts, The Life We Chose Before Birth. Now, I'm the type where if I run across something that seems a little bit out there, I will typically be like, I don't know if I want to watch that or whatever. I mean, I'm not dismissive of things I don't know about. I mean, once I learn about it, then it's easier for me to accept it or dismiss it. But if I don't know about it, I'm not somebody that dismisses something just because I've never heard of it. I might take the time to explore it to see if I feel like it's legit for me. So in this case, the title was intriguing. I'm like, Soul Contracts, The Life We Chose Before Birth. I don't know if I want to watch that. But her image, the image of the sister on the thumbnail, she was kind of cute. So I was like, let me see what's going on with this. Let me open this video and see what this about. And man, she proceeded to blow my mind. Just the information, very intelligently delivered. She had a mastery of it. And what she was talking about, she began the video with talking about soul groups, okay? And I'll put a link to that video in the description box for anyone who wants to see it. She began with talking about soul groups. And if you're wondering why I got the sunglasses on right now, I had to go to the car and get them. The studio lights are starting to make my eyes red and irritated. So I told you these lights are bright. So sometimes it's better for me to have my shades on. Anyway, she broke down something called soul groups, okay? And soul groups, basically, she drew this circle on the board and she put the different elements of a soul group in it. And she said that, roughly speaking, I think soul groups are, I don't remember the numbers, so don't quote me on it, but it was like 10 to 20 unique souls that travel together throughout time and space for purpose. I say time doesn't exist, so I say time, but I'm talking about like eternity. Let me say eternity. They travel together throughout eternity, fulfilling different purposes or whatever. And within these soul groups are different elements, and she went to break down those elements. She broke down what a kindred soul was, what a karmic was, what a soulmate was, and then she talked about something called a twin flame, and I'd never heard of it before. And when she explained it, I was just like, that's very interesting. So I was intrigued. I started, doing a little bit more research into it and looking it up, and it's a fascinating topic, very fascinating, and it seems to be trending on social media right now. Like, everybody is looking for a twin flame, or where's my twin flame? Personally, I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna put it out here right now, up front. There are two schools of thought on twin flames. Either everyone has one, or not everybody is part of a twin flame couple or union or whatever. Soul union, okay? Divine counterparts is what I like to call them. Again, not everyone has a divine counterpart that is a twin flame. Those are the two different schools of thought. I tend to go with B. I don't think that everybody has a quote-unquote divine counterpart twin flame. I don't. Now, everybody, again, there are different opinions. Which one is right? Which one's wrong? Who knows at the end? But I'm going to go into why I think that in just a moment. So anyway, to make a long story short there, that is how I got on this, thing of researching and looking into it, because it was fascinating and is fascinating. Now, the contrasting opinions of what twin flames are. Again, I'll go with that number 2 again. Twin. Wow, how about that? Is that not a synchronicity? 2. All right. I think, well, the two contrasting opinions on what they are. One school of thought says that twin flames were God creating the soul of an individual, if you will, and splitting it into two separate bodies. So putting one half of the soul in one body and one half of the soul in the other. And we're going to talk about how one half of that would be the divine masculine archetype and the other one will be the divine feminine archetype, okay? Pardon me. The second school of thought is these are individual souls, just like the other ones in the soul cluster, but the twin flame is a special, they are two souls that unify to create a unique separate entity, a unique entity, and they're connected via a unique energetic bond that is only shared between the two of them. So that an unbreakable bond. Let me say that this is an energetic cord that connects these two souls that cannot be broken. All right, I'll get into a little bit later where that is connected. You know what? Let me just do it now. But before I do that, I guess what I have to admit is that, again, I'm in that second school of thought. I tend to go with the not one soul, two bodies thing. That was the first one. I tend to go with the two individual souls connected by a common thread, a common energetic connection for a divine purpose. And these two souls were created to function as one when needed, when it was necessary, when it is necessary, when the situation arises for them to come into union and function as one to fulfill a divine purpose. Now, the best example I can give you that is the 1980s cartoon Voltron. If you were 70s or 80s baby, you might remember Voltron. Voltron was this cartoon about these, it's kind of anime-ish, but it was a cartoon about, and if I can remember, I'll put a link in the description box to an episode. If I find one on YouTube, you guys can see it. Voltron was these 5 robots that, they were like crime fighters, or, they fought against evil. And they're these 5 individual robots that are the form of lions. So they're these lion robots. And they are powerful robots individually. But sometimes they came upon a foe that was a little bit too formidable for any one or even all 5 of these lion robots operating individually. So what they had was the ability to come together to form a gigantic robot that could then deal with whatever that foe was. And now that foe is not so formidable, because now he got to go against something that is as formidable, if not more formidable. Voltron. 5 independently operating robots that can combine to form one super robot. That is kind of how I see the twin flame / divine counterpart connection. Now, and again, I'll put a link in the description box. So, That is what I think they are. I think so. I think twin flames, again, if you think that it's two bodies, one soul, I can jive with that, but I like the other one better. Let's talk about that energetic connection now. That energetic connection that is shared between those two souls is, as I've seen it, a 3-strand cord. It is a super cord that is made up of 3 individual cords or 3 smaller cords. You guys have seen ropes. You know the ropes are thread. I mean, the more threads you got in there, the thicker the rope. Same with chains. You know, the more links in it, whatever. Now, those 3 cords that form that one energetic connection are attached at the sacral chakra, the heart chakra, and the third eye chakra. So right there, that ought to tell you something. For those of you that have been following me for a while, you know that I'm big on energy and big on breaking down what the chakras are and what they do. I'm big on explaining that each individual soul on this planet, whether you are in the body of a man or the body of a woman, is the embodiment of 6 energy zones divided into 2 different types: feminine, 3 parts feminine, and 3 parts masculine. All right. What are your masculine energy zones? Real quick review. They are chakras or energy zones 1, 3, and 5. What is number 1? The root chakra. What is number 3? The solar plexus chakra. What is number 5? The throat chakra. Okay. The root is your center of safety and security. The solar plexus is your self-confidence. All right. And then the throat is your speech, your truth, your center of speaking, how you speak your truth. All right. All right. It is the center of speech. Those are masculine energies. If you're speaking, if you're opening up your mouth and speaking, you're operating in masculine energy. I don't care if you're a man or a woman. Okay. All right. Now, if you got confidence in yourself, I don't care if you're a man or woman, you're operating in your masculine energy. All right. Now, the feminine energy zones are 2, 4, and 6. Number 2, the sacral chakra. Number 4, the heart chakra. Number 6, the third eye chakra. Okay. Sacral chakra, center of creativity. All right. Heart chakra, center of love, emotion. All right. Love and emotion emanates from your 4th chakra, your heart chakra. And your third eye chakra, that's your center of perception and wisdom. All of those, that's 6th chakra. So all of those are feminine energies. Now, those 3 cords that bind or that connect these divine counterparts and the archetypes I'm going to talk about in just a minute. One is a divine masculine, the other is a divine feminine. These 2 archetypes that are part of this union are connected at those 3 chakra zones. They're all feminine. So that in and of itself is going to tell you something. I'm going to give you the secret sauce to that one by the end of this video. Okay. So those are the 3 cords that make up the one energetic bond between divine masculine and divine feminine. That tells you right then and there, with these cords connecting them at their feminine energy zones, that the divine feminine is the key holder for these divine counterpart unions, these twin flame unions. It is the holder of the divine feminine archetype. Okay. I don't care if you are a male or a female in a twin flame / divine counterpart union. Okay. And I say union kind of tongue in cheek because you may not be unified. You might be at odds, and I'm going to talk about that later. Like I said, the twin flames is not a goal. It should never be a relationship goal. And in my opinion, it's not something that you can create, and it's not something you should ever look for. I'm going to get to that toward the end of this video. Now, divine feminine, divine masculine archetypes. The divine feminine, what is feminine energy? Feminine energy is spiritual. What is masculine energy? Masculine energy is physical. Okay? So, again, it does not matter if you could have, on average, okay, from what I've seen, on average, in the twin flame community, okay, the twin flame members of these different soul groups, what you see on average is that women or females are the holders of the divine feminine energy, and men or males are the holders of the divine masculine energy, on average. However, how do you get an average? You got to have differences to make an average, right? Otherwise, it's a whole. So that's on average. However, there are some cases where it is a man in a relationship with a woman. I'm not talking about any other thing. I'm dealing with hetero. That's all I'm dealing with right here. If that ain't for you, then go find another video or something. I'm not dealing with nothing different. I'm dealing with what I identify with, what I know. Okay. In these cases, a man could be the holder of the divine feminine archetype, and the woman side of the twin flame connection could be the holder of the divine masculine archetype. How do we know these things? What typically happens is there's a dynamic, and I'm gonna go back to my notes here just to make sure I'm staying on point here, because I'm talking about what twin flames are. You know what? I've already kind of jumped over to the archetype, so I'll just keep going there. All right, divine feminine, divine masculine. The divine feminine archetype is the more spiritual half of this connection. All right, it is the more spiritual half of the connection. The divine masculine, the divine feminine archetype is the more ethereal part of the connection. They're the ones that do the spiritual work within the connection. They're the key holders. They're the ones that hold the key that turns that ignition, that ignites the energy that is in that connection, okay? Because it's spiritual. Remember, feminine energy is spiritual. Everything begins in the spirit realm and manifests in the natural realm, okay? The divine masculine archetype, they're the ones that are more connected to the physical world. The divine feminine, they care about things that are spiritual. The divine masculine archetype tends to care about things that are more earthly, earth-based, working, getting money, making sure that I'm providing for my family or whatever. That is what the divine masculine archetype does. And again, that could be a male or a female. It doesn't matter. The person that deals with more in the spirit realm, that could be a male or a female. It doesn't matter. Those are the archetypes. How do you know if you are a divine masculine or divine feminine? Typically what happens in this twin flame dynamic is something called the runner-chaser dynamic. And I'm gonna talk about that more as I get to the stages of the twin flame journey in just a moment, okay? Now, I'll tell you how that plays out. Now, so to get back, because I'm jumping around a little bit, I talked about those soul groups. I didn't get into detail. You can watch that video, but as in a nutshell, kindred spirits are people that they're souls that we know, that we vibe with. We don't necessarily have any, purpose or whatever. This might be, for example, somebody I work with or whatever, and we're cool. That could be a kindred spirit. We like some of the same things. We have a lot in common, but we're not really on any type of, joint purpose or anything. So we don't support each other in a purpose. We just have a lot in common, and we're cool with each other. We like each other's company. That is a kindred soul. Okay. What is a karmic? A karmic is a soul that is a part of that soul group that helps you understand what perhaps you've done to another soul in this lifetime or previous one. They're there to teach you a lesson. So a karmic is in your soul group. The karmics are the lesson teachers. That's what they are. They're not necessarily bad or good. Karmics tend to get a bad rap, but they are there to help your soul learn a lesson. And typically it has to do with karma. All right. Some people will teach that. Now we know that karma can be good or bad. Okay. It could be reward or punishment. Let me say that. Karma could be reward or punishment. And so therefore, karmics can also be those who reward you for something that you've done in this lifetime or past. Or karmics can be someone who makes sure that you get your karma dealt out on the negative side for something that you did to someone in this life or the past. That is what karmics do. Okay. That is their whole purpose. Once you've either gotten that reward or learned that lesson, you tend not to even see those karmics anymore. They fall away. Those connections, they fade. Okay. Soulmates can be for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. Okay. Soulmates, I like to think of them as a supplement versus a complement. I like to see twins or divine counterparts as complements. What is complement? Completement. Yes, the two combined together form a complete concept in the mind of the divine. Something I created this one for. I created that for. Completement. Soulmates supplement. What does a supplement do? It supplies you with something that you need. Okay. What is a supplication? A supplication is a prayer or a request. Supplements. Supple. So I tend to see a soulmate as a supplement. Supplemental parts of our soul group. Soulmates can be there for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. Right? What do soulmates do? Soulmates help us with particular tasks. They're there for us. They're there to help us up as parts of our journey. They're like a wingman on a you see these movies with these fighter pilots or whatever. That soulmate, hey man, look, I got your six. Don't worry about it. Enemy come, boom, I'm break off, get him, whatever, boom, I got him. That's like that soulmate. That soulmate could be a parent. It could be a romantic soulmate. It could be a spouse or something. It could be a love interest. It could be a brother. It could be a friend. It could be an uncle. It could be a coach. your coach at the rec center. It could be the librarian who you go to that same library every day for 6, 7, 8 years, and that librarian is helping you and she's teaching you things or whatever. So that's a soulmate. Those are different examples of soulmates. Okay. And again, that twin flame, that divine counterpart, that is a product of divine creation. I like to look at the contrast between, because again, people that don't know anything about a twin flame, whatever, they when they hear soulmate, they don't think of a partner for a task or a purpose or a life partner. They tend to think of soulmates as, oh, this is my romantic partner. Well, when you said, okay, Jennifer Garner and Ben Affleck, for example, y'all soulmates, right? Until you're not anymore. Were you ever soulmates, really? So some people, they get soulmate, they get this infatuation, this euphoric feeling when they meet somebody new, and it's like, oh, that's my soulmate. So soulmate, the term gets thrown around a lot, but when you understand that they're members of your soul group that help you with specific tasks or for specific periods of time for some purpose, okay, that is how soulmates need to be looked at. Twin flame / divine counterparts, they're products of not divine purpose, but divine creation. They're created as one. And I'm going to talk about that purpose at the very end. Okay, I want to save that for the end. So I needed to backtrack because I know I didn't do that contrast and show you guys about the different elements of the soul groups or whatever. Again, that video is called Soul Contracts, the life we lived before, or the life we chose before birth. But there are other ones out there. If you want to learn about soul groups, just do a search on it on YouTube or Google, whatever. There's some great articles and great videos about soul groups and what those elements are. Some people call them soul pods, okay, what those are. Anyway, now, again, and I talked about, you know what? I said I was going to give you guys an example. Let me give you an example of soul mates, and I'm going to use myself in this. I'm number 2 of 6 children born to my parents. I'm number 2 of 6 children, okay? My older brother, LT, I'm going to call him LT. He is, when we were growing up, and he still is, really. He's a lot bigger than me, more muscular, way more physically powerful than I am. He's very strong. He could probably bench press 3 times what I can bench press. Okay, he could probably squat twice what I can squat. Notice I didn't say 3 times because I got strong legs. I don't know if he could squat twice what I can squat. I don't know. I got some pretty strong legs. I can squat. Anyway, but anyway, he's always been more physically powerful than me. And growing up, me and him were like this. And we're not as much today because, time and distance, he lives somewhere way away from here. And, if I'm going to visit him, I got to go get on a plane to go see him and that kind of thing. But that's still my dude. That's still my ace. And then I got another brother behind me. I'm going to call him D. He's another brother. Now, let me explain to you what's going on here. Purpose. If my mother says, Matt, y'all go to the store and get me blah, blah, blah back in the day, and we might have to cut down some streets where there might be some unsavory fellows there, I got LT with me. Why? Because he's big and strong, and he's skilled at ending a fight just like I am, okay? He's skilled at ending a fight. So, back then I'm like, hey, look, I'm better going to the store with him in case something jumps off than D. Why? Because D's not much of a fighter. He talked a good game back in the day, but D was more of a pacifist. He's a musician. He could play music. Little ladies man. He liked the girls back in the day and stuff, but he wasn't no swashbuckler. Like, you know what I mean? He wasn't a swashbuckler, and he wasn't a brute like my older brother. Me, I consider myself a swashbuckler. Like, my older brother, I consider him a brute. D, D's a musician, ladies man, that kind of thing. He pacifist, all right? He talks a good game. I think he'd fight if he had to, but he wasn't fighting back in the day. So I'm not taking D to the store with me, because if something pop off, I need to know that, all right, look, if it gets thick up in here, I got somebody that, we can get out of this situation together. If we can't win it, we can at least get out of it, D, I got him for something else. D can read you like a book. He's a Pisces, okay? Older brother, LT's a Scorpio. We know they can be hot-tempered at times or whatever. Cool, but they can be hot-tempered. So I got a different task for him. He's my teammate in a different way. D, he can read you like a book. If I need him to read a situation or basically confirm what I think, yo, D, what you think about this person? What you think about that? Nah, man, that dude, man, he ain't blah, 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 blah. Oh, nah, man, yeah, he all right, man. D can read him like a book. He can read him like a book. If we need to break down or chop it up over some music, D's a musician. He could play. He could break it down. Now, this is what I like about this song, or this is what I don't like about it, whatever. That's D. So I got him for a different purpose. We're soulmates, okay? But He's D ain't on my team if I need to if I might need to get physical or something, right? If I need somebody to read something, read somebody, or just chop it up over some music, LT ain't there. They're soulmates. They're there for purposes. Divine counterpart twin flames, they're part of you. They are part of you, and they are created for a divine purpose that typically is not revealed until later on in that connection. It's typically not revealed till later on in that connection. However, one thing that they do right off the rip is they trigger you into carrying out your soul's purpose. Soulmates don't necessarily do that. Soulmates don't necessarily trigger you into fulfilling your soul's purpose. Divine counterparts do, because they're part of your soul. They're part of your soul. You are in many ways your one soul, because you got a connection. All right, you got a connection. So if you got real estate, for example, you got a larger house here, a smaller house here, and then you build a breezeway between the two and connect them. That's really one house. That's not two separate houses. Now, this one right here might have its own kitchen, bedroom, bathroom, living space, whatever. This one's got multiple kitchens, bathrooms, bedroom, living spaces, whatever. So they can function individually if they need to, but because they're connected by that breezeway, they're one house. That's another example for y'all. All right. Let me get on down to here. So I wanted to give you guys those examples. I wanted to contrast soulmates with twin flame / divine counterparts for you guys, so you can see the difference. And let me get into. I talked about the archetypes, physical energy, whatever, versus spiritual energy. I talked to you about the chords that connect. We talked about that the divine counterpart twin flames are connected via a single energetic connection that is divided into 3 strands that connect at the third eye chakra, the heart chakra, and the sacral chakra. Why those 3? Because they co-create. Part of their purpose for existence is co-creation. It is a spiritual union, y'all. It is a spiritual union. Most of these other unions out here are physical. The divine counterpart twin flame connection is spiritual. That is God created and God protected. Okay? It's God created and God protected. It cannot be broken. It cannot be broken. Ask anybody in it that's tried. They'll tell you it cannot be broken. It cannot be broken. We'll talk about that in a second. Let's talk about it now, because I want to get through this. Chaser runner dynamic. Okay, we're talking about the divine masculine, divine feminine archetype. As I was studying this stuff, one of the things that fascinated me was reading that the divine feminine is typically the chaser. What does that look like? The divine feminine is archetype in those unions is the first one that notices that there is something special and something powerfully magnetic about this connection. Now, the divine masculine recognizes it too, but they kind of stay in their lane a little bit. The divine feminine is the one that wants to go and explore and find out why do I have a spiritual connection to this person? Why do I have an energetic connection to this person? One of the things you find about the that's special about these that's different. I won't say special because then people get in their feelings and they're like, yeah, I don't have that, or I want it. I'm not gonna call it special. Let's just call it different. One of the things that's different is the fact that when there's this thing called a twin flame awakening, and that is when your soul, it is soul recognition. You recognize that other soul, even though you've probably never seen them in this lifetime. You recognize them. You're like, what is that thing? It's familiar. What is it? What is that? But what you don't realize is that it is your superconscious making that connection. These are souls that were always destined to come together for some purpose, for some greater purpose, for some spiritual / energetic purpose that I'm going to talk about as I get to the end here. Okay? I got a note here. What am I saying? What am I looking at here? What am I looking at? I'm going to call, you know what? I have to do this because I wrote this down and this is pointed. This is my last example of the difference between divine counterpart twin flames and then soulmates. When you are dealing with what I call divine counterpart twin flames, let's say, for example, man sees 12 souls in a room and they are serial numbered. Each one of those souls has a serial number beginning at 1 and ending at 12, okay? So man sees 12 souls in a room, okay? I don't talk about the bodies. We just talk about souls. Man sees 12 souls in a room. All right. So okay, you're number one. Everybody call off. We've seen these games before. They do it in high school or whatever. In middle school, we do it in the military sometimes. 1. Next person says 2. Next person says 3. You call that number out. You're being serially numbered. Okay, 1 through 12. But this is how the divine sees it with, and I'm using soul groups for example. Let's say you got 12 souls in a soul cluster. The way man sees it, they see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. The way the divine sees it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 11. You see the difference there? You see 12 souls, but the divine sees 11 because it's like, hey, this is a mirror soul. This is something unique right here. They have the same serial number. You see 2 individual souls, but they have the same serial number. All right? And they have that telepathic bond. They have that heart chakra bond where they can feel these extremes, the extreme highs, extreme lows. One of those divine counterparts is extremely happy, the other one feels it. One of them is extremely sad or depressed, the other one feels it. There's no escaping it, and you can't turn it off. Once you've had, getting back to now, that soul recognition. When you have that soul recognition is the first thing. That's the first phase. Soul recognition, something familiar. It triggers, whether you want to believe it or not, it triggers past life energies. And the first one that typically has that is the divine feminine. Now, in some circles, some say the divine masculine actually sees the divine feminine first, but they don't necessarily know what they're looking at. They just say there's something about that individual. And again, it doesn't matter if the holder of that archetype is male or female. It doesn't matter. Okay? But it is the divine feminine that triggers the chaser energy. What is chasing? You're chasing spiritually, because you ain't chasing nobody physically. Come back here! Come back here! I want to talk to you. No, you're not chasing them physically. You're chasing them energetically. That divine feminine archetype chases that divine masculine archetype energetically and forces them to run. But this typically happens after that initial soul shock, if you will, where and it's usually the divine feminine archetype that goes through that soul shock first. Soul shock. They go through it first. They see that person, they see that soul, they're like, there's something familiar about you. There's something, what is that? So they talk whatever you get, and there's just this energetic connection, this energetic thing where the one cannot forget the other. They can't get them out of their mind. They're thinking about them all day long. You just look around the different twin flame communities, whatever, you're going to see this stuff. It's there. They think about them all the time. They can't forget them, whatever. And so they start chasing energetically. The divine masculine archetype runs. They run. So that is the typical why, because it cannot compute that spiritual energy. It's too much. The divine masculine only knows physical things. Hey, I got to work. I got to provide. I got to eat, whatever. What is this stuff you're talking to me about? What is this? I don't know what you're talking about. Get away from me with that. So that is kind of how that works. Okay, so now, why twin flame status is not a goal? Okay? Why twin flame status should not be a goal? Twin flame status is not a goal or not something to be desired. In fact, until they both come online in the awareness, surrender to, and acceptance of their joint divine mission, both counterparts, who cannot seem to get the other off their minds, are in constant search for the exit door. This is what you don't know about twin flame unions or twin flame situations, twin flame situationships. The divine masculine counterpart, they're like, man, I don't want this. It's too much. It's too much. The divine feminine archetype is, man, why am I chasing after this person and they act like they don't want to be, or they fronting like they don't feel? I'm out of here. This is why can God take this away from me? Take it away from me. Take it away. I don't want it. That's what the inside of that looks like. Both neither one of them really want anything to do with it. It's like, look, I just want to be. Divine masculines are like, I just want to be regular. Divine feminine is like, I just want to be regular. I don't want to close my eye. They try hard. They try to forget the person. Boom, they show up in their dream. Or the name shows up across the television screen. Or you go to a supermarket and you see the person checking you out at the checkout counter. They got a name badge with the same name of that divine counterpart that you're trying to forget is. Divine always keeps that other person, the other half of that connection, the other part of that connection. The divine keeps them in your face to remind you that you got no power over this. You have no power over this. So this is one reason why it's not a goal. They both are constantly looking for the exit. The divine masculine archetype is running away from the energy, and the divine feminine archetype is praying to God to break the connection. That's what that looks like. Divine masculine, he's always on the run. Divine masculine is typically going to go try to get another situation to take that divine feminine off his or her mind. They're going to try to get in another situation. Let me go get in this other relationship. This will help me forget that person. The divine feminine, they might flirt with the idea of it, but they're like, man, I done been to the mountaintop and seen the promised land. To quote Dr. King or whatever, or, actually I won't quote Dr. King on that, but I'm just saying the divine feminine archetype is just like, I've had something awaken in me that I didn't even know was there, that never existed before, and I don't think that anyone can ever supersede that or even match it. So they're like, look, I'm just not interested in anything. I'm just interested in just me. I want to do me. I want to go be spiritual. That's the divine feminine archetype. They're like, I'm done. I'm over it. I just want to go be spiritual. And they start praying and trying to manifest and trying to visualize what it looks like to have that cord severed. And some people go as far as going to go seek shamans and different spiritual people to say, hey, are you somebody that knows how to spiritually break soul ties? Can you break this one for me? And then they find out, nah, that's a divine creation. I can't touch that. I can't touch it. That's what happens in a lot of these cases. These are things I've read. These are things I've read or things I've heard in videos. It's not breakable. Why? Because you didn't create it. You can only break connections that you created. You cannot break a connection that the divine created, that the Most High created. You can't break it. So eventually, until both sides of that equation come into the understanding that I cannot get away from this. This is here for a reason. What am I supposed to do with this? And surrender to the energy and then accept it. That is when the runner-chaser dynamic stops. And that is when they can then come forward into their divine purpose. But there's some healing that happens as a part of that process before the surrender happens. There's some healing that has to happen. There's some individual healing. There's some things that need to be done away with. There's some karmic contracts that need to be closed out. Go and watch that video on soul contracts. There's some karmic contracts that need to be closed out. You got a karmic contract, you got to close that. And it's typically the divine masculine that deals with the karma. Divine masculines deal with karma and having an ego death. We'll talk about that in the next video. Divine feminines deal with the spirituality side of it and healing from codependency. That is the overwhelming majority of the divine feminine archetype is healing from some type of codependency. The divine masculine archetype overwhelmingly is healing from having an overinflated ego. And a lot of times it's not even seen to them, not even beknownst to themselves. So, the ultimate purpose of divine counterparts incarnating at the same lifetime, in my opinion, the love frequency and the magnetism between these divine counterparts is so great that it releases light energy into the world. These are spiritual concepts. If you're not spiritual, you won't understand this. It releases light energy into the world. They vibrate at such a high frequency. There's such a high amount of magnetism between these divine counterparts that when they stop this runner-chaser dynamic, or when that ends, I won't say they stop it, when it ends when it's supposed to. All of these things they're divine creations, so these things happen in divine timing. They end when they're supposed to. All right. Why is that important? Matt, you always say with every what, there's a connected why. Simple, all right? Ultimately, I think that their goal is a planetary one. The goal of these divine unions, not their goal, because this comes from the divine. The goal of these unions is a planetary one. It is the restoration of balance and harmony via the vibration of this high frequency energy. We know that love is known as the highest vibration. Love is known as the highest vibration. You ever been into a house where the heads of that house, the husband, the wife, whatever, the parents, whatever, they have a lot of. You ever been in a household where there's a lot of love? It's like one of the key signs that you're in a house where there's a lot of love is you can go in there and just fall asleep. You fall asleep in that house and like, I didn't come in here to go to sleep. That's that is one sign of a high frequency household. But on the flip side, you've been in there, there's these houses. I've been in neighborhoods where there's houses that's like, you almost want to cross the street and go past that house. There's so much low vibrational energy at that house. This energy is real. We don't see it, we feel it, we experience it. So I think part of the divine purpose for these divine unions is to help raise the frequency of the earth. The magnetism and love frequency generated by these divine counterparts that were already equally one themselves, but they had a little something extra that the divine gave them for his own purpose. Let's make that very clear. His own purpose. That's why it's not a goal. It's not something to seek. You can't go out here and find your twin flame. People who are in twin flame unions aren't looking for twin flames. The experience finds them. And you find out that you're part of something that is bigger than you. Something that you had no knowledge of consciously. But your superconscious always knew. And it was always making these roads steer and go in a direction to where they collide and they cross so that you could begin that divine union, or that divine purpose, I should say. All right. So, one other thing, some people hear this twin flame, whatever, and they get jealous and they're like, oh, I don't want that person to have that. I've heard of these stories. Let me explain something. God does not play when it comes to these divine counterparts, these divine unions. They're sacred. He created them. All right. So if he won't even let the people within these connections get out of them, what makes you think he gonna let you come in there and disrupt it? I used to have my mother say this all the time. She used to say it's a dangerous thing to fall into the hands of an angry God. Y'all leave these divine connections alone. All right, leave them alone. And people, again, this is not a goal. Look, if you got somebody you vibe with, you digging them, y'all getting along good. Like one of my former bosses, shout out to you if you're watching this, used to say in corporate America, he said, don't try to be happier than happy. He said people mess up when they try to be happier than happy. Don't ever try to be happier than happy. I never forgot that. Shout out to my man Reg. I'm going to say your name. Shout out to my man Reg. He said don't ever try to be happier than happy. All right? That's when you mess up. So if he ain't going to let the people that are in the connections out of him, what you think he going to do to you trying to disrupt them? All right? If I'm in one, hypothetically, if I'm in one and I can't break it, the divine darn sure ain't gonna let you break it. It's gonna hurt you trying to break it more than it's gonna hurt me trying to break it. And the other thing I'll say on that breaking thing real quick as I wrap this up, divine counterparts that are in these connections that are trying to get out of them, what they find out is when they try to break and sever these connections, it causes them emotional pain because you're actually hurting yourself. And this is why I don't reject the whole one soul, two bodies notion. I don't reject that either. I think both of those applications that I gave in the beginning have merit. I think both have merit. But anybody will tell you when you try to hurt the connection or try to break it, you injure yourself energetically. You end up hurting yourself. You in some low vibrational energy, you sad, depressed. You don't even know why. Leave it alone. It's a divine connection. It's a divine creation. Soulmates are products of divine appointment. Twin flame divine counterparts are a product of divine creation. Point blank, period. As my girl Ashley says. Point blank, period. So, last thing I'm going to say. For those, and I wrote this down, for those whose egos would make them feel like twin flame is a status or a goal and want to go in search of a twin flame, please know that those who are on true twin flame journeys were not looking for them, and few, if any, knew such a thing existed. You do not go looking for a twin flame. If you are part of that special purpose, divine creation, because that's what it is, it's a special purpose, divine creation, your divine counterpart always finds you, and typically at a point in your life where you're not looking for anything other than the same things everyone else is seeking: life, liberty, and financial freedom. Please do not dismiss the connections you already have in your life that make you happy in pursuit of some holy grail, which most people on the planet would argue does not even exist. All right? So y'all, that's it. Stay tuned for the next video where I'll discuss the two necessary elements outside these DC unions, divine connection unions, that affect them: karmics and false twins. We'll talk about that in the next video. Until then, I'm an award-winning author. I got links in the description box. You can click, read the descriptions of the book. You can read synopses. You can read reviews. I'll save the descriptions because it's been a long video. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you have not done so and you're interested in doing it, hit the subscribe button and turn the notification bell on so that you'll be notified when I upload a new video. Last but not least, as always, tell somebody you love them and mean it. How do you mean it? You have to show it. Love is an action word, all right? It's a noun too. It's a state of being. But too many of us focus on trying to be in love, and we don't focus on showing love. First, show love to yourself, and then show love to others, and love will abound, all right? When we take care of the verb, when we focus on the verb, the noun always takes care of itself. Focus on showing love and being loved, and there will be love. Peace, family.